We are here with Allie Carlson, broker owner of West and Main Homes, Minnesota. Allie is amazing. And we met a really long time ago I think it was like 7 years ago at a ninja selling
Yeah,
installation in
yeah,
Colorado at the mothership.
yes. I can remember you were sitting right behind. I remember it clear as day to this day. So I think it
So
was
romantic.
2017, maybe. Yeah, it was magical. And who
Yeah,
even knew what it was going to breed?
I know. I was actually, now that you mention it, I was pregnant with my son at
Yes,
the time. That's bringing back some memories. So, in addition to being a broker owner, you're also a mama of two boys.
I am.
Oh,
Two
that real
little, a
estate mom
5-year-old and
life.
a, yeah, 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm a mom 24/7, as it turns out, both in real estate and in life. It feels like.
That's what happens when you own a brokerage. You're like a mom
Yeah,
at home and a mom at work. And, it
yeah,
has its ups and its downs, just like real
exactly.
momhood does.
It weathers you, though. I'm telling you, it gives you a skin that you need to be in the job in the industry that we're in. You know what I mean? Like nothing really phases you.
Yeah, I always hated when people are like, "You don't get it because you're not a mom." And I am gonna take all of my hatred back from people who said that because I totally get it now. Like, "Yep, you don't
Totally.
get it."
And I
Mhm.
also feel that sometimes too.
All right, well, the mom tangent aside,
Yeah,
today we're going to talk about your journey from being a top producing agent to owning your own brokerage and just the lessons learned and any other tea you want to spill about that, because I am sure there is some, there always is. But let's kick it off with your journey to owning West and Main Homes in Minnesota. How did we get
sure.
here?
Oh my gosh, how did we get here? First of all, thanks for having me here. Like, what a
Oh
delight to sit here
my
and
God.
to just go deep with you. So we got here. I started out in real estate. I'm actually a trained teacher, so I taught in public schools for years, and then decided to make a pivot into something a little bit more entrepreneurial. And real estate was the thing. I didn't know how much I was going to love it when I decided to take the step in, and then I can't love it enough. Was kind of like my like origin story of like real estate, but um, I was a little baby agent in Denver, Colorado for years, and I always say like I grew up in real estate with Weston May Homes from this company's conception in Denver, alongside leadership, Stacy Staub and Maddie Linder, the co-founders and owners of Weston Main in Colorado, really kind of by proxy mentored me about how to not only real estate, but gave me a lot of leadership opportunities and a
Mhm.
lot of freedom to garner a cool like mentorship program, become a managing broker, handle the hard questions. And when my second son was born, my husband and I decided to move back to Minnesota, where we're both from. And it was like a crazy town thought to even, I still wanted to sell real estate. And it was like out of this world to think I would sell real estate for any other company besides Weston Main. And so it was like, well, guess we're going to have a Weston Main and I'm going to own it.
Too bad, no choice.
I mean, I wish that it was like a little bit, it's not any more like fancy than that, besides saying like, I believe and love this company and the foundation and the roots and everything that it stands for so much that I also wanted other people in the Twin Cities Metro to have that opportunity of like what I loved and what I knew. And I also saw a big need for it. Like boutique real estate brokerages are not prevalent. There's a lot in Minneapolis and St. Paul areas, not nearly as much in Denver. And so there felt like a niche and an opportunity there, but I didn't quite know what it was yet.
I'm going to take a little bit of a side tangent because I do feel like the boutique brokerage is becoming a dying breed a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of mergers, acquisitions, a lot of consolidation right now. So I really personally feel like boutique brokerages actually are going to have a kind of a second coming a little bit, like because
Are
of
we in
that
the
fact.
Renaissance?
I think we are. I think there was like a little bit of a renaissance in like 2010, and I think there's another one coming in 2025, 2026.
Listen, starting a brokerage in a town where nobody knew, I mean, I'm from here originally, but as a professional and all my whole adult life was never spent in the Twin Cities Metro. And so I had to like reestablish myself and then also bring a whole new real estate brand to a metro area, which is pretty predominantly held by some big box brokerages.
Hmm.
And like I said, like if you're a boutique or an indie brokerage, like you're very, very neighborhood specific. And West Main is a little bit neighborhood agnostic and more like client facing forward vibe. but I did see a lot of people feel super excited about the idea. They just didn't even know it was like a thing. So that felt exciting, but then also scary because you're like, well, then how do I tell everybody about this? Which was a really big challenge.
So, when did you open your doors?
That's a fun question. So we were officially licensed in December of 2022, and it took a little while to. I felt strongly about having a meeting place for people to come and do their real estating things, whether it's working with clients, getting their stuff done, like living the real estate life. And so we had a brick and mortar beginning in May of 2023. So we were in one spot for a year, and then we just moved to a cuter location with
Yeah,
easier parking. So we've been where we currently are physically since August of 2024, and it's awesome. We are just over 2 years in the Twin Cities metro at this point.
that's awesome. What challenges do you feel like you've faced not only bringing a new brand to Minnesota and your market there, but also just in owning a brokerage? Like, I feel like there's a big mindset shift that has to occur. So, what do you feel like has been difficult, maybe in the mindset, but also in the logistics of opening a brand new brokerage?
I mean, how much time do we have?
Oh,
It
we have
is,
as much as you need.
let me tell you, it like the I think you hit it the nail on the head. Like the first shift, which I didn't see until kind of later, was the mindset shift and realizing that I was and am really good at selling real estate, really good at connecting with clients, under like really good at mentoring agents, like really good at tackling the problems in Denver. And then I moved to Minneapolis and St. Paul, where I'm from, and I understand the cadence of life here, but it is a little bit different. There's just a little bit of a different, the market operates a little bit differently. The speed is a little bit different. The type of people in our industry is a little bit different. And so I had to almost unravel and like put in a little box, but take out the good parts of what I was used to and what I knew as real estate and take out the best parts of high level operation of real estate to the Twin Cities metro, while also understanding that like everyone in Denver isn't from Denver. I mean, not everyone, but a
Right.
large portion. Everyone in the Twin Cities is from here and has been here. And good, bad, or otherwise, it just brings a different type of mindset in decision making timelines, in open mindedness to new ideas. And so when you come here and you're bringing this like, hey, I know this is a great brokerage. I know what we stand for is wonderful. It was no problem to get people to understand that and see that in Denver. And here, everyone's like, are you sure? And so it was the challenge was understanding that like, oh, this is going to take it's going to be a little bit harder to build and to grow, and then also to shift my mentality because even though I was in leadership in Denver, I wasn't an owner. I
Right.
didn't make all the decisions. Not everything lived and died on how I operated the show, and here it does. And with that came decision making and ownership over decisions and hard decisions, and not just being like one of the crew at the table, but the person that everyone's looking to for the answer. And that was I love my people and I like to be in it. I like to talk about it. And I had to somewhat separate myself from like all of the chatter to being in a really like solo leadership role. And as you know, it can be a little bit lonely. So that was a hard adjustment to make, but also a necessary one. And I was okay with it once I understood that that was necessary. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yes. I think what's really interesting is that cultural shift of going from Denver to Minnesota. And I think it's something that we don't realize how local real estate really is. Like, we say that it's location, 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 but we don't realize that each area has their own culture, their own way of doing business, or their way that it's always been done. And DC is very similar to Denver, where nobody's from there, but it's very affluent clientele. Typically, it's very sophisticated. And I remember when I moved to New Hampshire in 2017 and I started doing some real estate up here, I'm like, where did I land? It's like another planet. It's something we take for granted, where if you're changing location, that's definitely something to keep in mind, which is just the culture so different from place to place.
And I don't know if you can like fully prepare for it aside from just being like, oh, this is going to be different. I made the mistake of assuming that I was just going to be able to carry on the way that I always had. And that caused some delay in I don't want to say success, but just maybe like momentum a little bit out of the gate.
Right.
But I will also say that what I was able to realize kind of after the fact and in reflection over years is that how grateful I was to have experience in a different market to bring here, which allowed for which is slowly allowing for new perspectives and new thought tracks and like, oh, hey, have you thought about this? Or this is how this has been done before. And that's felt like a really cool thing to be able to present and bring both to my agents or just like agents I'm talking to on a deal or just in the industry in general. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so it's not all bad. It's really cool. It's just the melding of it all and figuring out every day which one, what kind of like, what little activated part of your brain do you need to turn on?
Yeah, and also, like, how does W Weston, Maine fit into the broader market of Minnesota? What's your unique selling proposition? What makes you unique? Why would agents join you versus all of the other established players in the market? So, I'm curious, what is the answer to that question?
I mean, if anybody, Weston Main Homes, like I am so grateful. We have such a beautiful design and marketing stack, platform, all of the things. It was built so smartly with basically a whole in-house design agency, which in conversation with agents, most people are like, oh, my brokerage has marketing, and they do, to some extent, and then they kind of see behind the fold and they see behind the scenes of what we have here and they're like, oh, we definitely don't have marketing. So that's been a really cool piece, is realizing just how much, like, especially for agents who are used to becoming like Canva maidens, which whatever, you got to do what you got to do to make a graphic look pretty. But I always say, like, your expertise is not in designing a flyer. It should be working with buyers and sellers. And Weston Maine has that market pegged with providing an extreme amount of resources and support so that all the pretty and the marketing and the design work is done and taken care of so agents can just do what they want to do. And we're also all about culture. Like,
Mhm.
it is not just a warm body incubator. I am here to make sure that I'm not going to turn you down because you want a chance and you've never sold a home. Like, let's mentor you. But if you're not kind, if you're not collaborative, if you're shameful or anything like that, like, we are just not the place. And I've found that agents really have appreciated that mentality and I don't want to say strictness, but like just boundary around who's, part of this crew.
Right. I honestly think that's where boutique brokerages win so often is culture because it's actually an easy lever to pull in terms of differentiating yourself against other bigger brokerages. So, like having leadership that actually gives a shit, having collaboration. I I have a no assholes policy. I think you're right. It's those boundaries, but those standards and allowing the right fit into the clubhouse. And then when someone isn't the right fit, they're out of the clubhouse because that really is
Totally.
so important and it factors in so much more than at the bigger boxes.
Yeah, and I think, like, I can't tell you, I don't know if you've had the same experience, how many agents have joined in and they're like, I didn't, I know who my broker was, but I never talked to them or they never got back to me or I had to like only contact them in a certain avenue way.
Right.
And, we're just not that stuffy here. Like, I'm your broker, send me a Slack message. I can't promise you I'm not at like a kid's birthday party, but like I will help you tackle that contract question.
Yes.
And I think that people appreciate that. It's also real and authentic. Like, we are just people out here trying to do our thing and we are not better or worse than anybody else. And I just really like that. And I'm hoping that it's starting to catch on like brush fire because I think people deserve to have a brokerage like that where they don't feel like they have to conform to some way or another, but they can just like be themselves and do really badass real estate at the same time.
Yes. I love it. That's all we want. We just want to have fun and do
Literally.
badass real estate. Hello.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, it's hard, but it's not that hard. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's so true. Oh, so let's talk about attraction. Let's talk about recruiting. So I didn't say this, but you're a coaching client of mine. And one of the things we were working on together was recruiting. And also, I hate the word recruiting. I just want
I
to
do
call it
too, more than
agent
anything. And I'm
attraction. Let's
almost
call it attraction.
totally. And also, like, I'm also starting to get annoyed with agent attraction, right? Because we're like that with
Right?
the next iteration of
I
recruiting, and now we're there. So,
know.
like, let's evolve that one. We'll put
What are
that in
we
the
gonna
back
call
burner.
it? Let's
I
like
don't
coin
know.
something new right now. I need
I
like
know. The
mm,
slingshot. I don't know. I like.
All right.
magnetic. Then yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, but we're gonna call it agent attraction for now.
Yes.
So we were kind of like building it from coming into this new market. Like, how did you stand out? And I think that you nailed it. It was like you guys have a really strong marketing in-house agency. So you're very design forward, which I think was a huge value add. And then we were talking about like systems and like hardcore recruiting. And I love the story about how you messed up this email. Can we talk about it, please?
Yeah,
Because it's
let's
like
talk
my
about it. Yeah.
favorite thing on earth. Where you're putting in the email, like the intro email to your like list of agents, and you put hi first name, and the
Hi,
first name
first
didn't
name.
populate. I'm like, and you recruited agents from that, which
I know. Oh my God. Talk about both the most mortifying, like fetal position in the closet moment matched with like the most empowering thing all at the same time. One full pendulum swing, all within the same like hour or so. I mean, agent attraction was something that was a big challenge, right? I didn't know what to do. I didn't realize how lucky I was to work alongside Stacey Staub for so many years, who just also has a little magnet inside of her of wonderfulness. And agents just jumped at Weston Main Homes, and rightfully so. And so when I came here, and I was like, "That's going to happen here. It's going to be great."
exactly.
That didn't happen, and so I had to put some structure around the process of attracting agents to Weston Main Homes. More so, like make sure they knew what it was. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to do the email campaign. I'm going to just put some feelers out there. It's just going to start sharing who we are. I wrote a 26 email campaign, and I had a placeholder name on the email, and I didn't do the merge tag in there. It just said hi first name. And it's like the toothpaste that I couldn't shove back in the tube fast enough. Let me tell you, oh my God. That's it. I was like, that's it. It was fun while we had it here. It was, real estate's been a good time, and I'll see you all in the next career path. Lo and behold, I had a handful of, like, I had a couple of very unkind people respond to that with a snarky way, which immediately went into my phone with little emojis that said they were not nice. I had a couple of very sweet people be like, hey, don't know if you noticed this. And I was like, did I notice it? And I had an agent come in for an interview and
I
onboarded two
love
weeks
it.
later.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I think it taught me, like, listen, maybe it was intentional to weed out the unkind people. Maybe it was me being a human because I'm not a big corporate conglomerate. And it brought a big flurry of like pride, and it weirdly kind of unlocked another layer of leadership and ownership that I was like, I am who I am. I make mistakes. It is not a reflection of the quality of person that I am or what we do here. I am just doing the best I can, just like everybody else. And I will be the first person to sit here and support you when you send me a place. Ironically, 2 weeks later, I got a similar thing. I did
No
on a text
way.
message. On a text message. And it was, yeah, on a text message. And it was like, hey, first name. And then it was like, Allie, blah, 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 blah. And it was like some sort of like recruiting thing. And I just kind of gave it like I see you.
Oh, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. That's
Yeah, totally. I was like, oh, not interested, but like all the best. Like, that's all you need. You know what I mean?
I
I'm sure they saw their
know.
mistake.
What's up with people being just rude? I remember I sent a recruiting email once out, and it was all about like all the stuff that we did. It was like we have the Done For You program, and this guy wrote back, and he was like, "There's no way you do all of this for your agents, and if you do, you're going out of business in a year." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, wow, you're nice."
Yeah, it takes a lot of effort and energy to be unkind and spiteful. And I mean, that's not the people that we are attracting here to West Mead Homes.
That is accurate. Like we're like, how about we have some nice people? We just don't need those
Totally.
meanies. Don't want those.
Yeah, and that's my funny. Like, always check your March fields, people. And also, guess what? The hours kept ticking, the sun set and rose again the next day, and here we are. So
And you still had to go home and make dinner for the family and do bedtime. It just
exactly, and
doesn't
it was
stop.
such a blip on the radar. So it was a devastatingly comical moment in the kickoff to this year, and like you said, like good things came of it. So I appreciated that as well.
Yeah, that was the best. I love this. I was just like, I remember you're just like, oh shoot, and I'm like, oh no, this is good. This is great. Don't worry about it.
I was like, this is over. Oh my God. Which I was like, if an agent said that to me, I'd be like, we're good. Let's turn this water into wine. And
Hmm.
sometimes I just need someone to like broker me really quick. Um, and so I was very grateful to have you as a sounding board. And you were like, it's all good.
Don't worry about it. You're
Totally.
human. That's like the boutique broker who's a human. That's the best.
Totally. In fact, it made my brand. So here we are. Anyways.
Let's dive into some lessons learned because I just love a good lessons learned takeaway. So,
Mm.
what are 2 to 3 things that you feel like you have learned in the past 2-ish years on this journey of going from producing agent to broker owner?
I love this question. And it's like, it's such a easy and complex question at the same time. The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear that question is, as boring as it sounds, the financials around broker ownership is significantly different than being a solo real estate agent, regardless of whatever your LLC or tax status or what
Yeah,
have you is. The operation of running a brokerage and how much that takes financially and the structure of it all, it just, that was all taken care of you as a solo agent. So that was like having a better understanding of that. I, looking back on it would have been a smarter thing for me to know, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think a big lesson learned is I did an okay job with agent attraction, but I think being okay with going slow. I was used to the cadence of selling real estate where I'm selling 2 or 3 homes a month and just like in the shuffle of that and in the flow, but that was my own silo. And when I stepped into broker ownership, it became the whole farm. And
mhm,
so I had to be okay with like every little part of the farm just like needing to get into place and slowly building up rather than just like doing what I do and everything else gets taken care of. And I think I tried to go like speed up the process really fast, or like make sure that I was like whatever success was or financially and getting there, or that we had agents, we had signs in the yard, that people knew who we were, and it was going to unfold as it was going to. And in hindsight I can see that, but I think I would have taken my time to establish who we are, like sales, like just not feel like I had to rush things. I was always
right.
trying to like get to that next step that I didn't always know what it was either. And so maybe that's called a lack of vision.
I don't
But
know. I think you
I
have a
had the
vision.
vision. It's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I had the vision. I knew what it was gonna feel like, what it was gonna look like, how it was gonna be. I just I feel like sometimes I was a little aimless on how to get there, and maybe having a little bit more of a plan would have served me well.
Mhm. Yeah, but I would
Because in
even
hindsight, I didn't
wonder
really have a
going
plan.
back I wonder if you even needed a plan though, because I think, like I actually have a feeling that if you had a plan, it would have gone out the window because you didn't know what market you were getting into. Like, you had no
Yeah.
idea. You had to land to kinda know what land on the moon to know what you were dealing with.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it was, right? It was like instead of just like, hey, starting the brokerage, like maybe I should have just like acclimated a little bit.
Mhm.
But listen, I have literally never been one that doesn't jump out of the plane and find my parachute later kind of person. I just always jump and I find my feet. And not that it makes anybody less stressed by any means, but
Right.
it's just like my modus operandi. It's just how I go. And otherwise everything's boring to me.
I know I'm the same way, but that's why I loved working with you.
Well, totally. Oh
I'm
gosh,
like, jump
it
into
was like a
it.
match made in heaven.
I
Yeah,
know.
it was wonderful. It was exactly what I needed.
All right. So, if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, just one, what would it be?
I want two. So I'm gonna give you the boring one first, which is
Okay.
save more money.
Okay. What you needed
Truly,
more money. Okay.
you just don't understand the operation costs of things, or just don't go so fast. And I would also say like it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna look different than you ever pictured it to be, but it's still gonna be okay. Um, because I didn't realize that I'm like a closet type A perfectionist type person. Because in my mind, I'm like a type B personality. Turns out I'm
Mhm.
pretty type A. And that got in my way a lot of like, I have to hit this benchmark, I have to appear a certain way, this standard of success and what that looks like. And it kind of put like a block and a barrier of like the right people walking through the door. And the second I was like, this is how I want it to feel, come get it, things became a lot easier, which was kind of like a, it's going to be okay. You know,
Yeah.
it will be how it will be. And we will, and if the right placeholders are in place, the culture, what we do, what we offer, how we want to appear, the right people find you when
Yep,
they
they
need you.
do. Yeah, they really do. And
I don't know if that's good
I'm
advice, but I truly have more money. That would be the big, my big suggestion if you're going to go in and start a brokerage. Like it has a lot more overhead than you think. Even if you run lean, it has a lot of overhead.
Yes, I agree with that. I remember my first year, I was like 40K in the hole. I had to borrow it from my retirement account. And I'm like, ooh, I definitely
Oopsie.
didn't know that was going to happen. So, yes, knowing that in advance is crucial. You have to
Yeah,
definitely know your financials. I just think financials, like all of that flows. It's very important. That's like the
totally.
foundation you're built on, like the splits you're offering, the overhead you're carrying, your per agent break even point. Like there's just so many things you have to calculate and know before you dive in, whether you have
Yeah.
an admin fee or not. Like there's just a lot.
Listen, I was like, I went on feels, and feels do not equal profit. So I had to learn that one really quick.
Oh, feels. I mean, sometimes feels are really good though.
Yeah, and listen, they get you to jump and do the thing. Like what I don't do is sit and wait for the thing to happen. Like I do not wait for opportunity, connections, the next step, decisions. Like I've also learned to fail fast and like cut the tie when you need to, which is a gift I gave myself.
I think it's a really good thing to do. All right. So, closing question. What are you looking forward to in 2025?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'm looking forward to, I'm really cultivating, I love supporting and coaching agents, and especially with my agents here at West Main Homes. I call it like the tribe that we're building here. The people that are around the table are incredible, and I'm really excited to help them like uncover and cultivate their their gifts and what is going to bring them to their level of success. Like you got to like sell real estate to pay for something. That's really exciting. Whether that's like charity, time away, college funds, whatever, investment properties. And so I'm really excited to help coach agents to get them to that level that they want to
Hmm.
do and succeed and grow our collaboration table. Like the amount of ideas shared and back and forth that is happening here is amazing. And I just want to keep providing that opportunity. So I'm excited for how that's going to unfold. And I think that we are really catching on to something here. So I'm just excited for a little bit of growth.
I love that. All right, we are going to end on you are going to grow in 2025. We're manifesting it, putting it out
Yes,
there.
bring it on.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was so great chatting with you.
Thanks, Lindsay. I will come on any day. I appreciate your questions. You know, you have a big fan from me over here in the Twin Cities.